The cybersecurity risk management lifecycle, effective risk management isn't a one-time project you complete and forget about. It's a continuous, iterative lifecycle designed to adapt to the ever-changing threat landscape and business environment. While different frameworks might label the phases slightly differently, the core process generally involves these key stages. 1. Risk identification. What could go wrong? This is the starting point. Discovering and documenting the potential cybersecurity risks your organization faces. The goal is to create a comprehensive list of potential negative events. Methods for identification include asset inventory. Knowing what you need to protect is crucial first step. Module 2 touched on this. Threat modeling, analyzing potential attackers, their motives, and likely attack paths against your systems or applications. Vulnerability scanning and penetration testing, using tools and techniques to proactively find weaknesses in your systems. Analysis of past incidents, learning from your own previous security events or breaches. Reviewing audit reports. Internal and external audit findings often highlight areas of risk. Threat intelligence, subscribing to feeds or services that provide information on current threats, attack trends, and vulnerabilities being exploited in the wild. Understanding common threats targeting Nigerian organizations is key here. Brainstorming and workshops, bringing together stakeholders from IT, security, business units, legal, etc. to discuss potential risks. Checklists and frameworks, using standard checklists or frameworks like those discussed in Module 2 to ensure common risk areas are considered. The output of this phase is typically the initial population of your risk register, which we'll discuss later. 2. Risk analysis and assessment. How bad is it? Once risks are identified, you need to understand them better. This phase involves analyzing each risk to determine its potential likelihood and impact. The goal is to prioritize risks so you can focus your resources effectively. There are the methods for analyzing risks: likelihood analysis, estimating how likely it is that the identified threat will exploit the vulnerability. This can be based on frequency of similar attacks observed globally or locally, ease of exploiting the vulnerability, attractiveness of the asset to attackers, effectiveness of existing controls. Impact analysis, determining the severity of the consequences if the risk materializes. Consider financial, operational, reputational, and compliance impacts. Ask what would happen to the business if a risk level determination, combining the likelihood and impact assessments to assign an overall risk level or score, e.g. high, medium, low, or a numerical score. This is often visualized using a risk matrix. There are two main approaches to assessment, which we will explore fully in Module 4. Qualitative uses descriptive scales, e.g. high, medium, low, based on expert judgment and experience. It's generally faster, but more subjective. Quantitative attempts to assign numerical, often monetary values to likelihood and impact, e.g. calculating annual loss expectancy, ALE. It's more objective, but often requires more data and complex calculations. The assessment phase provides the critical information needed to make informed decisions about how to handle each risk. 3. Risk treatment or response. What are we going to do about it? Based on the risk assessment and your organization's defined risk appetite, you must decide how to respond to each identified risk. There are 4 primary treatment options: risk, mitigation, or reduction, implementing controls to reduce the likelihood or impact of the risk. This is the most common response. For example, installing security patches to fix a vulnerability reduces likelihood. Implementing an intrusion detection system reduces impact by enabling faster response. Conducting security awareness training to combat phishing reduces likelihood. Risk avoidance, deciding not to engage in the activity or use the system that creates the risk. This might mean discontinuing a service, not adopting a particular technology, or changing a business process. For example, deciding not to collect certain types of sensitive personal data if the compliance burden and risk are too high. Choosing not to allow connections from a particularly high-risk country. Risk transfer or sharing, shifting some or all of the risk burden to a third party. This doesn't eliminate the risk itself, but transfers the financial impact. For instance, purchasing cyber insurance to cover costs associated with a data breach. Outsourcing a specific function like payment processing to a vendor who assumes the PCI DSS compliance risk, though you retain oversight responsibility. Risk acceptance, consciously deciding to tolerate a risk without taking further action, usually because the risk level is within the defined risk appetite or the cost of mitigation outweighs the potential impact. This decision should be documented and approved by management. For example, accepting the risk of a minor system outage with low financial impact if the cost of implementing full redundancy is prohibitive, accepting a low likelihood, low impact vulnerability that has no known exploits. The chosen treatment plan for each significant risk should be documented in the risk register. 4. Risk monitoring and review. Is it working? Is anything changing? Risk management is not static. The threat landscape, vulnerabilities, business environment, and the effectiveness of your controls are constantly changing. Therefore, ongoing monitoring and regular review are essential. Here are methods for risk monitoring and review. Monitoring controls, continuously checking that implemented controls are operating effectively. E.g., are firewalls configured correctly? Is antivirus updating? Are logs being reviewed? Security monitoring tools like SIEM systems play a key role here. Monitoring risk environments, staying informed about new threats, vulnerabilities, and changes in regulations or business strategy that might affect your risk posture. Threat intelligence is vital. Reviewing risk assessments periodically, e.g. annually or after significant changes, reassessing identified risks to see if likelihood or impact levels have changed. Reviewing risk treatment plans, ensuring that planned mitigation actions have been completed and are effective. Reevaluating accepted risks to ensure they remain within appetite. Auditing internal and external audits provide independent validation of control effectiveness and compliance. This phase feeds back into risk identification. Monitoring might reveal new risks or changes to existing ones, starting the cycle anew. It ensures the risk management program remains relevant and effective over time.